Hello, my name is Jonelle, and welcome back to my Golden Year vlog. This is the vlog where I talk about my 26th year of life and all the highs, the lows, the joys, and all that. So, this weekend was very exciting for me because I went back to Greensboro, North Carolina. I went there for a Creative Reuse conference. If you're not familiar with my journey in my life, I went to graduate school in North Carolina. I went to North Carolina A&T, Aggie Pride. And during that time, I stumbled upon a Creative Reuse Center called Reconsider Goods. And while I was there, I was amazed by the fact that there is a nonprofit model out there that supports the arts and the environment, and that was exactly what I wanted to do. So I volunteered there, and then I kept showing up, and they offered me a sales associate position. I worked as a sales associate throughout my last year of graduate school, and when I graduated, I was promoted to sales floor manager. I worked as a sales floor manager from May of 2021 all the way until I left in November 2021, where I decided to become the executive director at Scrap Atlanta. And one of the reasons for my success at Scrap Atlanta is because of all that I did while I was at Reconsider Goods. So for me to come back almost 3 years later as a executive director of my own Creative Reuse Center to this conference, it was so surreal, especially because so many of the Creative Reuse Centers were like, we want to talk to you about Scrap Atlanta. We want to talk to you about how you guys are opening a second location and like you guys are crushing it. It felt amazing to hear that. I learned so much from the other Creative Reuse executive directors. We're all on different parts of our journeys. Some have small stores like me. Others have larger stores like Reconsider Goods, Scrap Exchange. They're the larger stores. And then some are like in smaller towns. And it was just a very interesting and unique group of people. I loved it. And I love Greensboro. I haven't been back in over a year, but it was great to see my friends. It's great to see how much Reconsider Goods has changed. I love visiting it because it was like a possibility model for Scrap Atlanta. Now, with Scrap Atlanta, we might not have a store as big as Reconsider Goods for now or in our near future, because I see us doing more neighborhood models around Atlanta because that's what the city needs. If you are familiar with Atlanta, it's like you don't even want to go 20 minutes out your way because the way back could be 40 minutes. So trying to find better concepts for serving the community, just being like around the perimeter so we can serve the outer neighborhoods as well as people in the city, would be a better model for us. And also what made me happy was, one, I wasn't the youngest in the room, and I also wasn't the only Black woman in the room. There were two other Black women a part of this collective that we're forming for Southeast Creative Reuse Centers. We don't have the name yet, so don't look it up. But it was great to talk to other Black women to see their experiences in the Creative Reuse space. During my research, originally, I didn't find any other Black-led Creative Reuse Centers. And when I did my road trip, I rarely saw Black employees at Creative Reuse Centers, and it just confused me because I'm like, there's so many Black artists out here, and we upcycling Creative Reuse, that is a part of our culture. So I'm like, where are we at? And it was good to also kiki and talk about like how Creative Reuse is something that can help with environmental racism and injustice. I know me as an artist, my upbringing wasn't centered around me having an artistic career because it was like always seemed as a financial risk. And so my family would be like, okay, do arts and like, yeah, you can study fashion, but what about fashion merchandising? Or what about graphic design? Like, it was always like, you can just be a full-fledged artist. study some business or some science to go with it. And I think now that we have Creative for You centers that are popping up all over the Southeast, I'm super excited for what everyone's doing. Kids are finally seeing like, okay, I can try this art and I can try and make it financial or not financial. Like, one of the women that I met, her name is Francine, and she was from Creative Sanctum Studio in Concord, North Carolina, and she was really talking about how this is a place of peace, healing. It's a journey. It's not just a Creative for Use space, it's also a studio. And she had a sewing space, and it was like, it wasn't just like, I'm gonna learn how to sew and I'm gonna leave in 2 hours. It was like, I'm gonna learn how to sew, but also I'm gonna create community and connect and just talk. It was such a vibe. I actually had to visit 4 Creative for You centers this weekend, which was very good for my soul. Of course, we start off at Reconsider Goods, and I'll show you what I bought. My fabulous bag is back from each Creative for You center, and I think it would be a great option for people who are looking for ways to start incorporating sustainability into their art practice. And each Creative for You center had their own thing. And me personally, obviously not supposed to be buying fabric, so I didn't buy any fabric this time. I bought other things, and I like shopping at Creative for You centers because it's like you can get your own souvenir and then make art with it. So my journey to Reconsider Goods, going back home, I guess, I got these earrings. They are so cute, and I'm actually still on the fence about if I'll wear them in my ears or if I would put them on my shoes, because shoe pins are about to be back in style, since, you know, it's like, why do we spend so much money on different shoes when we can just get shoe pins or jazz them up with that. Also, I got this flamingo mold, and it's a starburst, and it's a thunderbolt. And I've actually seen this in the store before. Like, I think it might be from TJ Maxx, but I didn't want to pay that much for it, and this is only $1. And yes, it's been used for UV resin, so I will not use it for ice or chocolate or soap. However, I've been seeing a lot of projects where people use hot glue guns, and they like melt crayons and things, and they put it in here to make molds for things like that. And I really do like the idea of like themed crayons, and just like, also I can make gems for cosplays with the dried up hot glue. That's it. And that was everything I got at Reconsider Goods. And Reconsider Goods was the biggest one that I went to. Next, we went to Winston-Salem. We went to the Art Shack. And it's like, I wasn't really shopping, but if I see a big bin of sewing patterns, I'm gonna look through them. And that is what I did at the Art Shack and Reconsider Goods and Creative Sanctum and Upcycle Charlotte. So this is what I got at the Art Shack. This is actually perfect because it goes up to a 10, which I will have to grade it up probably to a 12 for my bust, and possibly grade it up a little bit for the waist, like maybe to a 14. But I like the different styles of this dress to the point where I'm like, yeah, I could grade this up very easily, especially since it's only like 1 to 2 sizes up. And then it's also good. It's great with cottons, and it'd make several perfect dresses. And I also feel like I can change out the top. Like, I really like the skirt of this, and once I get the skirt down, I can change the top to make it like just different looks. Next up, I was like, oh my God, Black people. If you know me, I'm rooting for everybody Black. And to see this at the Art Shack in Winston-Salem, I was like, okay, I gotta get it. And I did. So I'm super excited. And it has like instructions on how to make these pins for black people. I think, let me see, what year is it from? 1994. So, you know, in the 90s, they had their own version of the blackening where they had all these partnerships with Essence and different like black pattern designers. And so anytime I get that, I try and like collect that pattern. So then I was kikiing with Francine. I was telling her like I want to get into sewing leather, and but I need a new machine that, well, not a new machine, I just need a metal frame machine to sew through leather. And Francine was like, I got you, just come to Creative Sanctum before you you know, you're heading down 85 back to Atlanta. I said okay. And it's like this weekend was so free flowing. Like I stopped on my way in Gaffney, South Carolina, and got peaches from a peach stand. Like just it's just like random things that I want to do. I was staying with one of my friends in Greensboro. We were just hanging out all night, like free flowing. I was late every day to the conference because I was just free. I mean, I wasn't like super late. Like I showed up to the workshops, I participated, I was being a person, but I was really just enjoying my time. I didn't have like an agenda to be like, I have to do this thing, but everything fell into place. So I drove down to Concord, and Francine was like, let me show you this machine. And it's very heavy. It's very heavy, but it is beautiful, and it is mine. Woo! This baby. Green, my favorite color. Metal frame. Look at it. It's a dressmaker. It's beautiful. I just do straight and zigzag, no backwards. And we don't need that because we're doing leather. So I am so happy to have this machine. So happy. And we test it out, and it works. It gets very hot. It's very heavy. So on my wish list for Christmas is a new sewing machine table, because I know this table that I've had since I was 9 years old is not going to cut it. But I'm going to save up. I'm going to make this trench coat. I can show you guys the leather. It's actually right here. Oh, nope, that's not it. So I have a leather bin, but pretty much this is the leather, and look how beautiful it is. It's going to be a patchwork trench coat. I want to do a lot of leather patchwork, and so I'm so excited to get this machine. I do have to get a new foot pedal for it because we couldn't find the one that went with it. Francine had an extra one for me to test it to make sure the machine works, but all I need is a foot pedal, and I am good to go. So prepare to be sick of me and my leather creations. It's gonna be great. And also, Francine had patterns. I'm glad I didn't look too hard at Francine's studio because she has so much. She's in a really great facility. It's actually what I wish Scraplanta was in. I wish we were in an artist colony so artists would shop with us. And then when we have these art events, people could just shop the store. We're getting to that. Like our next space, it is a community space, which I think was better for us in the long run versus being in a shopping plaza. But you know, I've learned from this conference, one step at a time. One step at a time. Next year, not one, but 2 of our leases will be expiring. And so we just go that next step next year. And I'm excited to see what happens. So here's what I got. And all of these patterns have a theme because I was looking for a caftan pattern, and I was like, let me just see what I can get, and what, like, I have the fabric in mind that I already got, but like I just want to figure out the line drawing so I can get the drape right with the caftan that I want. So here's caftan number 1. Look at that. Look at that. That's fabulous. It screams like regal, and it is from 1969. So before my mom's time. This is from Project Runway, not 1969. I would say early 2000s. Let me just check right quick. Because it's actually new look. So, or maybe 20 teens. 2011. Boom. So that's why I like it. I'm like, it's shorter. And then I don't know. I think this is cute too. So, but maybe like a cute little dress. This, I actually used to have a jumpsuit that had this similar top to it. And I'm like, this is perfect for work. And also, like, you know, I'm not having children anytime soon, but I also want to be that type of person who doesn't have to buy maternity wear. So I feel like this dress would be good for a changing body, at least in the early months. This is a Mimi G pattern that I've actually been looking for a while. I tried to get another pair of bell bottoms to compensate, but I'm like, I really wanted these. I don't like that they don't have side pockets, but I like the stitching on them. And I don't have to just use denim. I can also use pont, and it can get the shape that I want for like work pants. This is a button down skirt pattern. I like that it buttons because your girl got some thick hips, and just, you know, anything that makes skirts easier to fit and like don't fall apart when I'm wearing them helps me a lot. And then look at this. Look at this jiffy pattern. Look at this. I might have to add straps to it. I gotta like study the construction of the band more because I just don't trust my boobs from falling out. And this one is from 1980. So, and I'll show you. It's just 2 links, but it has a little slit on it. I was like, okay, Miss Girl. And last but not least, this one also, I think this one is also from the 80s. 1991. So this one would be good with some knits, some more comfortable clothes. You see the theme? Comfort. So that was what I got from Creative Sanctum. Oh my gosh. I'm also surprised that I got something from every Creative Reuse Center, because there are times where I go to Creative Reuse Center and I don't get anything. But it also depends on what I'm looking for. Like before on my road trip from here to Texas, I didn't really get anything because all I looked at was fabric. Like in Austin Creative Reuse, I just got like 1 roll of fabric. But now that I'm also into paper crafting, a little bit like with the silicone molds, and like silicone molds are fun to collect just to have them. But now that I'm into those things, I know what to look for when I'm out thrifting, and like also like vinyl as well. But yes, and then there was, oh yes. I went to Upcycle Charlotte, and they had not 1 but 2 Black people working there. I was like, ah! And so I looked around, and I liked Upcycle Charlotte's format. I liked the shopping plaza they were in. I liked the way the store was laid out. Like it's really what I would want for Scraplanta, because I want us to have little neighborhood hubs versus these huge retail stores with $10,000 leases and, you know, $800 electric. We don't need that. We need to be for the people, and we need better parking. So I was in Charlotte for not too long, and I was sort of like secret shopping. I did not announce myself because I was just like, I came late. Everybody had already left, and they closed at 7, so I was good. But I was like, I'm just gonna pop in here. Look at this. Great Black Entertainers paper dolls, and they got everybody in here. Like, not just they have Josephine Baker. They got Paul Robeson in here. Like, if y'all remember these books, you know how excited I am. Like, they got Ethel Waters and Bessie Smith. Like, so I'm sitting here like, do I frame this? And then someone was like, oh, I've made magnets with it. Also, this is from 1984. 1984. I'm just trying to figure out what to do with this, because this is too good to just sit in a book. Like, I'm like, either you're going on a wall, or someone said they laminate it and make magnets with these. Oh, I'm finna get my X-Acto knife, laminate magnets, and, you know, just this needs to be preserved. 1984. So that's what I got on my Creative Reuse road trip journey. It was a great, refreshing time. I think conferences are great for the soul, especially if you work in an industry that is stressful. Things are constantly changing, and it's very small. So we were all able to bounce ideas off of each other. We all got the same gripes, like people leaving stuff outside our stores, not respecting our donation appointments, trying to get grants. Like, that's the hard part of your job. And when nobody understands what you're doing and you're trying to build this thing and people keep asking you what you're doing and you're like, I'm trying to save the world one bobbin and thread at a time. It's just good to be in community. And it's good to see, like, a lot of us were women. And it's like, why are we doing this? Why does this mission resonate with women? With the few Black women that were there, why did it resonate with us as Black women? There were a couple of men there, and it's like, why did this resonate with the men? Like, this art unites us, but also our love for the environment. And we wanted to focus on being in the Southeast in particular, because we have a different experience in the other Creator for You centers. We have different cultures around recycling and the environment than, say California or New York. We have different levels of infrastructure that connect us or disconnect us in terms of, like, in New York, if they had this conference, they could essentially those directors could take a train into the city. If they're connected by the train, they could do that. With us, all of us drove from everywhere, from Virginia, from Georgia, and South Carolina, because we just didn't have that connection like that. Like, we have Amtrak, but it would have taken me almost 10 hours to get there versus a 6-hour drive. So those are things to think about when we try and figure out, how do we solve this Creator for Youth problem through a Southern lens, through an equity and climate justice lens. And it's hard work, but we're getting there, and I'm just so excited for what's going to happen. And so stay tuned for updates with Scrap Atlanta, and more Creator for You centers are popping up in the Southeast. There's a couple of projects I'm hearing about in Athens, Georgia. I haven't really heard of any in other parts of the state. Well, there's Starlandia in Savannah, but I would love to, like, help and work with other Creator for You centers that want to pop up in Georgia, because there's so much possibility, and we're all just excited to see each other thrive. Like, there was no competition in that room. We were all just here to learn. So my soul is refreshed. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.